Of mankind, peace and security, freedom and the rule of law. Such is a world worthy of our struggle and worthy of our children's future.
I grab my sword to slice off the devil's facade. War against Satan, it's gonna be plenty involved. Sword of justice slicing through the enemy's fraud. We use the same weapon to bring Israel a message from God. Turn on TVs, watching all the pagans ball. Orgies and parties, all up in they Mason halls. When the angels brought it, breaking all nation walls. Babylon the great, the throne of Satan falls. The world's most treacherous tribe, we sever the ties. Israel is gonna rise, watch Esau for millennium cry. For all the president lies and our children in tenements die. And all the bloodshed caused off American pride. Earthquakes everywhere, death and rumors of wars. The golden cup will be melted in the tomb of the horde. You doomed to the core for consuming the poor. And every knee shall bow down soon to the Lord.
Affirmative action necessary for the legendary prophets that went to war for the word today were dead and buried. We'll be filling up the cemetery real soon with nothing but heathens. Those that join them shall be thrust through. When the Lord come through with his army, the troops will retreat and face defeat. It's time you take a seat, face the heat, or you crackers gon' reap everything you sold on this earth with death and slavery. Extermination is a must, in the Lord we trust. Prophecy unfolding with the Russians. Time is catching up. This land used to be the home of the brave until our wicked ways led to us being the slaves. The oppression never stops until we get ourselves right. We at war with ourselves, it's time to get your mind right. Keep the brotherhood tight, we all we got. These phony niggas in the world, they all we not. We deal with wisdom and understanding, laws and commandments. Anything aside of the Lord, I'm gonna trash it, smash it, cut it into pieces like a hatchet. Any demon front for attention, I let them have it.
Salakia. All praise to the Most High. Salakia, I was on mute on YouTube. But all praise to the Most High, right? I was saying there's a lot of current events going on nowadays. So today we're going to go over some of the things that's going on, you know, that we can see manifesting right in front of our eyes, right? You can check out the news. You can read the scriptures. You know, the scriptures already forewarned us about a lot of things, or basically everything that's happening right now, right? So our job is to watch and pray. Our job is to get right with the Most High, right? Get more closer to him. Fasting, more fasting. A lot of our people need more fasting, right? Including myself. We all need more fasting, more prayers. Because listen, man, it's about to get real in the near future. Right? It's about to get real. Things is about to go down. We see certain signs now. Some of the signs is what? You know, this digital currency that's about to happen in the near future. Right? Leading up to World War III. That's all prophecy. So if we seeing these things come up, right? These are wars and rumors of war that Yahushua Christ spoke about. Right, these are the things that we're supposed to be watching. So we're gonna go over some scriptures. We're gonna go over some of the things that's been happening. We're gonna go into some articles. Right, we're gonna go into a couple of things regarding the digital currency, how it can affect us, what to look after, how to even prepare to a certain degree. That's another thing. We need to learn how to prepare for these things that's about to come upon us. There's a lot of famine, a lot of riots, right? A lot of things, war. It's going to come on a global scale, on a higher level. So our job, once again, is to watch and pray and to prepare for these things. The scriptures tell us to prepare for these things. Be ready to live as pilgrims. Don't set your heart on goods or money. All that's going to go away. Yes, we do what we can now. I'm a big advocate for we do what we can while we in captivity for the best for ourselves, our families, and our brothers and sisters in this nation. At the same time, we cannot put our heart into that. A lot of people, a lot of millionaires, billionaires, they got money, but they're not in tune with prophecy. Right? They got money, but they're not in tune with the Most High. They think that money is going to solve all the future events that's going to happen. But they're sadly mistaken, right? We see in the scriptures when we read everything that the Most High spoke is going to come to pass. Past, present, and future. We've seen in the past, all these kingdoms got destroyed. All of them. Every kingdom the Most High raised up and he prophesied against through his prophets, they all got destroyed. Name me a kingdom that didn't fall. We can start there. Name me a kingdom that didn't get conquered by other nations. So right now, we at a state where our people, they really believe that America is the superpower that nobody can take down. America is a superpower that will never fall. It will never collapse. We got the strongest military. That's what they say. Right? These pro-Americans waving the American flag, right? Proud to be an American, having a person like Joe Biden as a president. A dude who can't even direct his own steps. They tell him to go right, he goes left. Talking to himself, he stops in the middle of a sentence, can't finish a speech. This is who the Americans elected as president. Well, we all know presidents are selected and not elected. However, the elections is just an experiment on how many people would vote and who would they vote for. It's all an experiment. So we see that what Joe Biden got a lot of votes, right? He got in office. And now we're seeing that the Americans, that's the so-called Americans voting for him, is regretting it. So-called Democrats, right? And that's going to lead to what? Donald Trump being the savior of the people. And people's going to want now Donald Trump to be president, as we're seeing now. Right? These are just a couple of things I'm going over leading up to the class because, again, this is prophecy. So they're going to have people believing that Trump is the best option out there for the people. But we all know what? They working for the same team. We know that ain't no difference between no politicians. That's why we got to praise the Most High for this truth, because some of us would have probably still been voting out there. Some of us would have been in the voting booth every year if it wasn't for this truth, right? Trying to see some change, trying to see something that benefits us. And guess what? Every president that's been elected, right, is not our people. Every single one of them. Right, so let's get into this class, right? We'll start off with some slides. Again, the link is on the top for those on Clubhouse who want to see the live stream and the PowerPoint slides concerning this topic. So today's topic is current events fulfilling prophecies, digital currency, and World War III. Some of the main things we've been hearing over the years. As a matter of fact, this hasn't been talked about, right? That since the elders, since the first elders in this truth. So we know that the Most High was dealing with the elders. Why? Because what they said about the prophecies is coming to pass now. One of the Jews that I was able to pick up through the elders was that, they taught what? One of the things is the prophecies, if you see Russia moving, then that's when you know we're close to the end. Right? And that was during the time of 9/11. That was during the time where people thought 9/11 was going to be the end of the world, right? A lot of people, I'm talking about in the world, right? A lot of people always believe in certain dates and all that, right? But that was one of the days, right? That people thought, okay, it might be here. But one of the Jews that the elders said was what? If you don't see Russia moving, it's not that time yet. And now we're here in 2023, and what do we see? We see Russia moving. We're seeing the BRICS nation. We're seeing the digital currency being spoken about and even being introduced at a small level, but it's still being introduced to us. And this digital currency is going to knock the dollar off. And what's going to happen, you can have $1 million saved up in the bank. It's all going to come to nothing because that dollar bill is going to become zero value. These are things that we got to prepare for. So let's go into the first slide. Open it up with a scripture. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 39, verse 1. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient. So who are the ancients we're supposed to be seeking? That's the prophets. Because the prophets spoke on the downfall of this kingdom. The prophets spoke on the downfalls of the kingdoms before us. So if their words came to pass because it was all through the spirit of the Most High, we're supposed to seek out the wisdom of the ancients, which is the prophets. Reading on, it says, and be occupied in prophecies. So a man that giveth his mind to the Lord the Most High is occupied in prophecies. A lot of times, guess what? Even in our personal lives, we can get caught up in the small things, and that blinds us to the bigger picture. A lot of times, we may go through trials and tribulations and spend so much energy going through the negative motions that you don't see that there's a war going on. Myself included, right? We all go through that kind of motion, but we have the Most High to remind us to do what? To be occupied in these prophecies. Because listen, Christ, he said what? He's coming when no man knoweth. He don't even know when he's coming. So we got to be prepared. We got to be ready to endure to the end. That's what enduring to the end means. You're prepared to see these prophecies manifest, but you're also preparing yourself spiritually with the Most High. Because we can't count ourselves as the elect. So we have to try our best to prepare for these times. Reading on, verse 2. He will keep the sayings of the renowned men, and where subtle parables are, he will be there also. A lot of these things is parables to people. Digital currency, what's that? What does that even mean? World War III? Nah, I don't think that's going to happen. I've had people tell me, I don't think World War III is going to happen. I've had people tell me that. Nah, that ain't going to happen, bro. That ain't never going to happen. My people. And now we're seeing that things is escalating. The Most High is moving. That's what the Bible says. What? Let every man be a liar, but the Most High be true. So we're going to keep the sayings of the renowned men, especially our King Yahushua Christ. He's above us all. So we're going to follow his wisdom. And he said what? To watch and pray. We're reading here what? To keep the prophecies. Let's read on. Verse 3. He will seek out the secrets of grave sentences and be conversant in dark parables. He shall serve among great men and appear before princes. He will travel through strange countries, for he have tried the good and the evil among men. He will give his heart to resort early to the Lord that made him, and will pray before the Most High, and will open his mouth in prayer and make supplications for his sins. We always have to be in the spirit of making supplications for our sins. Right? Because we're all a work in progress. We all got areas where we could be better at. We all got areas where we can say, you know what? I could keep that law better. All of us. So a righteous person, man or woman, they're going to make supplications to the Most High for their sins daily. Verse 6, when the great Lord will, he shall be filled with the spirit of understanding. That's what we are blessed with, the spirit of understanding. Can you imagine? A lot of these people, a lot of these brothers and sisters, they lost out here. Imagine not having the truth. Me, I could speak for myself. If it wasn't for the truth, I'd have been locked up, dead, or in jail, right? prison, right, is one of the things that our people face when they don't have a goal or a vision as a community. There's no vision. The Bible says what? Where there's no vision, the people perish. So our job as, Israelites is to have the spirit of understanding and also to edify our people. That's what the Most High wants to use us for, to bring this word forth, to reach our people however way we can. So we shall be filled with the spirit of understanding. Reading on. He shall pour out the wise sentences and give thanks unto the Lord in his prayer. We always got to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh Shem Shah. That's why you always hear me say, all praise to the Most High, name Yahweh Shah, for another day. Another day of life, another day to get right. Let's go to the next slide. Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 7. Nevertheless, hear thou now this word that I speak in thine ears and in the ears of all the people. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many kingdoms, it's like in many countries, and against great kingdoms, of war, of evil, and of pestilence. So the prophets of old, the men of God, they spoke about war. They spoke about pestilence. They spoke against many countries, against great kingdoms. And they're doing the same thing today. Those are who you call Israelites, right? We're speaking against the kingdom that's oppressing our people. We're speaking against the kingdom that raped, robbed, and murdered our people for what they have. And that's what the prophets did as well. So these are the wise prophets we're supposed to follow. And this is the spirit of the Most High when you know that you're against a society that's against your people, especially against God. Every law they push here in America is all the laws against God. The Most High says, what? Homosexuality is not right. You got America saying it's all right. You got the Most High saying bestiality ain't right. You got the nation saying, listen, it's all right. You can do it. Matter of fact, we'll legalize it for you. Everything is contrary. Let's go to the next slide. So here's where it gets kind of interesting, right, on the current events. So on the slide, you read, list of crypto founders and CEOs found dead. Now, I know a lot of our brothers and sisters, you've been hearing this news, right, about the crypto CEOs and founders, or just, they're found dead out of nowhere. So right here, I have a list of those CEOs and founders that just, out of nowhere, they was just, they're dead. Some of them is suicide. One of them is they drowned, right? But it is kind of fishy. And we'll get into that a little later, right? So here's a list. The first one is Autumn Ratke, the CEO of Currency Exchange First Meta, right? Gerald Cotton, founder of Quadriga CX, once Canada's largest cryptocurrency exchange. Matthew Mellon, a banking heir and crypto billionaire. Mercia Popescu, Bitcoin investor. Nikolai Mushegian, an early developer of Maker DAO, described as the largest decentralized financial protocol. Now, here's something that is key. This early developer, he was a developer of what? The largest decentralized finance protocol. Now, America, they're trying to centralize their currency. Now we have a developer that's in charge of one of the largest decentralized finance protocol. He's found dead. And the only reason I'm bringing this up because we know that America has a history of people mysteriously just ending up dead out of nowhere around the same time. Sometimes for the same thing. Right, so let's read on. It says a type of financial technology designed to remove third parties and centralized institutions from monetary transactions. That's a threat to the U.S. right there, to the powers that be. And we'll get into it why a little later, but that's a threat right there. If you're trying to decentralize, right, and have a third party as a use of monetary transactions, that's a threat to the powers that be. The next one, Vyacheslav Taran. He's a billionaire Forex club founder who had investments in blockchain-linked projects. Gone. Tian Kulanda, a co-founder of digital asset company Amber Group. Now, these are all of them that's been found dead. Some of them mysteriously. Some of them said certain things that sounds fishy. Like they're after me. Who's after them? We're going to see what's up, right? We're going to read this article. Let's go to this article real quick. So I got the list of names too from this article. If y'all following along, right? This is from newsweek.com. So, of course, the headline is crypto CEOs and founders, sudden deaths. What we do know, what we don't. Now, here's the thing, brothers and sisters. The people that control the media, they're real slick. This is why you have to question everything they tell you. What they do is they lie and mix in the lies with the truth. So they'll mention the elephant in the room so you won't think highly of it. Well, they mention this, so they're not trying to hide nothing then. No, that's the trick right there. They're mentioning it so they can mold your mind into believing that they're addressing the issue. And they're not. So when you read this article, you have to have a spirit of discernment, because there's truth mixed in with lies, also with subtle remarks that would make you think otherwise if you wasn't in a certain mind frame, right? So let's read. It says, the news of the deaths of two major cryptocurrency CEOs in 1 week has fueled a spate of conspiratorial claims and narratives. So they already started. They're starting your mind off with the thought of conspiracy claims, right? AKA conspiracy theories. They're already addressing it to mold your mind later on in the article. See that? Instead of letting the evidence speak for itself, because there's certain things you have to question. Certain things seem like, okay, you could get away with this. You know, it might seem like a reasonable, something reasonable that might have happened, coincidentally, so-called. But then you read other things and say, hold up, this can't be a coincidence. This can't be just out of nowhere, right? So let's read on. Purporting sinister links between their passing, that of other billionaires and multimillionaires from the industry over the years. Now it mentions Tian Kulanda and Vyacheslav Taran, who both died within the past fortnight, had fortunes estimated to be worth billions of dollars and are now the center of new conspiracy narratives on social media, despite limited to no evidence that either died as the result of a plot against them or other foul play. In other words, you can't prove it, so don't try to use your critical thinking skills. Don't look into it in a way where you think it's a plot, because there's no evidence to support it. That's the kind of mind frame they're trying to mold you to have. That's why you have to be careful what you read. Right? The scriptures, it tells us, right? His word is smooth as butter. Sounds like wow, he can put a sentence together. He can write a good article, good words, nice words. Okay. And now people get caught up in that, but you got to read into it, right? Reading on, it says, it follows only a month after millionaire cryptocurrency developer Nikolai Mushejian, 29, drowned in Puerto Rico. So they're trying to make you believe, don't think of it as a conspiracy. But coincidentally, only a month after, millionaire cryptocurrency developer drowned in Puerto Rico. Oh, wait, don't think of it as a conspiracy. Let's read on. Their passing prompted some people online to search back to other mysterious or explained death and disappearances, again with little to connect these individuals beyond the source of their wealth. See, that's slick talk. We're gonna keep reading though. The volatility of cryptocurrency, its various adjacent scandals, and its touted utility as a decentralized alternative to traditional banking systems. Now remember that one of them was one of the largest corporations in a decentralized monetary financial institution, and he ended up dead. So they're throwing what the conspiracy, so-called conspiracy, is at us, so we won't think nothing of it, and kind of want to make us agree with them. Wow, yeah, what, what? Yeah, that's crazy. Let's read on. With vast potential for money laundering, has invited dramatic conversation and wild theorizing, even when evidence is either lacking or non-existent. Reports of any new deaths, these conversations show, are ripe for exploitation by the conspiratorially minded. They keep just mentioning the conspiracy instead of just critically analyzing what's going on. They're trying to take your critical thinking cap off, right? That's how you say to school, right? Put your critical thinking cap on, right? When you was growing up, that's what you heard all the time with the teachers. They're trying to take that off. Right? Reading on, it says, with this mind, Newsweek explored the history building up to recent events in an attempt to pick apart some of these threads. And here's where it gets shaky, right? Because we're going to read some of these things. And brothers and sisters, everything can be a conspiracy. Everything can be a theory. Some things is fishy and some things has got to be true. But you know what they do, right? It's like, what America does. What they'll say is, listen, we can know that you shot a person, but if we can't prove it, then we lost in court. We can know, I can see it with my eyes, but if you hide the evidence good enough for me not to see it, I can't prove it. Therefore, you can't be convicted. That's how it is with everything. So that's the game they're playing here. They want you to have concrete proof in terms of a person coming out saying certain things, and that's crazy. They do. That's what we're going to get into. But yet and still, they won't consider that. Let's read on. Autumn Ratike. Right? These names, I don't know how to pronounce these dudes' names. Right? But it says, among the earliest deaths to fuel speculation in some conspiracy theory circles is that of 28-year-old Autumn Ratke, who died in 2014. The CEO Currency Exchange first made a PTE Ltd. Ratke died in Singapore, with a Singapore coroner's court ruling her death as suicide. Listen, we've been around long enough to kind of say, well, we can't truly go and believe that it was a suicide, because there's been many stories before that we know of that the situation was suicide, so-called, and there was foul play. When you control the media, when you control the court system, when you control everything, when you control the world, period, you do what you want to do. You have people paid off to tell lies to the people. So guess what? The fact that this was ruled a death, a suicide, listen, I'm not going to believe that. There's no concrete evidence. There's no concrete evidence. They can even manipulate the evidence That's how much power they got. When the elites, when they plan something, they plan it. They got everybody in their pocket. Everybody. Don't believe the hype, right? Reading on. The coroner cited Singapore Straits Times found no foul play, noting that she had been looking into suicide methods before her death and had confided in friends and colleagues about her stress. I haven't seen that. But yet and still the article was putting it out as that's a fact. You see the hypocrisy as well? Reading on. Even before coroner's conclusion, there were still speculative accounts surrounding her death, with one article stating her death seemed rash. So we got conflicting statements. Despite the conclusion of the coroner, it seems that Radke had been singled out misleadingly as being connected to the recent deaths, even though she died more than 8 years ago. Now, I will say this. Certain things people exaggerate, and this is where people make facts look like it's crazy. When people start to reach for certain things, because I understand there's a lot of people that believe in so-called conspiracy theories, and some of them stretch it. Yes, yeah, some of them be reaching. But when you stick to the basic logic, when you stick to reasoning, when you stick to, is this a coincidence? Like everything is happening like this, then you can kind of say, okay, there's something fishy going on. You can say that. Right, let's read on. So Gerald Cotton, right? Let's get to the point. According to an investigation by Canada's Globe and Mail, Cotton, 30, died from complications related to Crohn's disease, and Robertson returned to Canada with his body. The price of Bitcoin had begun to crash before his death, and his company is on track to lose millions of dollars. At the time of his passing, he had a net worth of over $250 million, and the passwords of Quadriga's accounts. According to a Netflix documentary about him, at least 110,000 customers were affected. However, an investigation by Ontario Securities Commission, it was discovered that the Quadriga CX was essentially a Ponzi scheme. The investigation found Cotton had created fake Quadriga accounts, used fake funds, and made real trades betting on the value of cryptocurrency. So here it is, right? This guy, Mr. Cotton, right? I don't know his first name, Mr. Cotton. He created fake Quadriga accounts and used fake funds to make real trades. The higher ups don't like that, because that means, right, that's the key to the game right there. If you could, because listen, let's be honest. You know, the dollar bill is fake money. The digital currency is going to be fake money as well. That's all just a number. Dollar bill is just a paper. If you find a way to get into a digital system to use fake funds and make real trades, that's a threat. That's something the higher ups look at and say, that's something we do, not you. Right? They say we do that, not you. We ain't gonna give you that power, so we got to do something about that. So, listen, he was creating these funds and making real trades, betting on the value of cryptocurrency, and he was beating the elites at their own game. They didn't like that. They never do. So let's read on. I want to get to the one that's interesting to me as well. Give me 1 second. Is it this one? Okay, this is one interesting one as well. A reporter by auditor Ernest and Young also found that funds were transferred to Cotton personally and to other parties, right? So they didn't like the whole scheme. Some, however, believe he is still alive, fueled by the misspelling of his name on his death certificate, and that he had prepared his will just days before his honeymoon. So let's even go with that. Let's say even if this person faked their death, even if they did, he was doing it for a reason. Normally when people do that, it's because somebody's out to get them. We know who it is, right? Let's read on. Other Quadriga investors believe Cotton faked his death and ran off with millions as part of an exit scam, while some believe he had his face modified by a plastic surgeon and was no longer recognizable. All right, let's go on to the next one. But we see that regardless of the fact, he's running for something. He's running from something. A lot of these dudes, they know that they're in a situation where they can get their life taken away. They know that. They know if they gain too much power or just enough, the elites is after them. They know that. There's a track record of that already. So we know that. At least those in the know, right? Let's go to the next one. Matthew Mellon. The same year, Matthew Mellon, a banking heir and crypto billionaire, died unexpectedly. Mellon reportedly had long-standing issues with drugs. His net worth on paper was reported by money to be around $1 billion. Both he and Gerald Cotton have been drawn into conspiratorial claims about their deaths. An unnamed source told the Daily Mail in 2018 about their suspicions that Mellon had been murdered for his cryptocurrency. Now, I'm not going to say far-fetched, but I'm not going to say exactly what happened either. And that's why you look into more situations. Look at this one. Right, let's look at this one. Hundreds of millions of dollars are missing, possibly forever, they said. Matthew always said they were out to get him. Perhaps he was right. Why would that come out? Why would such a statement come out? Right? Matthew always said that they were out to get him. Who was out to get him? Now, we have an article that if it's something anti-conspiracy, it'll kind of pass it off as truth. When it's something kind of pointing to a so-called conspiracy, they'll pass it off as there's not enough evidence. You can't link that. That's why this article is slick. Right? Let's go on. That's fishy right there. Right? This one could have been, he said, could have been drowning off the coast of Costa Rica. According to the Costa Rican broadcaster. And he was what? He was an investor leaving a fortune thought to be worth more than $2 billion. Now, you know, if you got $2 billion and you don't have no strings attached, they ain't gonna like that. Normally, they want the strings attached on that puppet. $2 billion, that means you can do whatever you want. You can build the whole economy. You can construct the whole city. They ain't trying to take that chance. Right? They didn't want their power taken away from them. We see what power does. Power corrupts people. Power corrupts those in position right now. So they just keep repeating the same history, right? So this whole article gives you the stories of what happened, right? There was this one crypto dude. I think I might have mentioned it. I'm not sure. But he was found dead after he went to Puerto Rico and exposed Epstein's Island, pedophilia island. He came back from Puerto Rico, said that, you know, there was an island of pedophilia in Puerto Rico. There was a sex traffic ring over there. He exposed that. Next thing you know, he was dead. So listen, I'm not no conspiracy theorist. I just kind of look at things from a lens, right? From a lens of logic and reasoning, as we all should. And I'm pretty sure a lot of my brothers and sisters do. Well, of course, those in the truth. Right? We got to be a light to the Gentiles, our people, right? That's not in the truth. So we got to point out certain things. That way they could start thinking in a critical way, right? Critical thinking. All right. This one, let me see. No, so y'all could go to the article and read more. But another one saying he got swept away by sea currents in San Juan. Right, according to police reports, we all know, especially in the Caribbean, Esau, America got that all board, all those politicians. Whether you in Jamaica, Haiti, Mexico, Ecuador, Puerto Rico, anywhere in the Caribbean, listen, the white man got that locked. Right? He got their pockets tapped. So yeah, man, there's a lot of things going on. These crypto CEOs and founders being dead all of a sudden. Right? Just being dead. And here's another thing. Linking it up to what's going on as well, we have to take that into consideration. Which we get into right now, right? Let's get into the next one. So another current event is what? You have Cash App founder Bob Lee stabbed to death. And right after he stabbed to death, you got FedNow announcing that they're launching in July. Now, we know, well, some of us know, some of us don't, but FedNow, as you see to the right, a tweet from Say Cheese, the U.S. Federal Reserve banking system is launching its own Cash App called FedNow in July. This is a movement towards getting rid of physical money and having digital currency. So FedNow is just another Cash App. There's other sources that refers to FedNow as a Cash App, quote unquote, as well. This is right after Bob Lee died from a stab, right? Stabbed to death on April 4th. What's going on here, right? Why would you announce that, especially, being an app imitating Cash App? Is there something going on here? I mean, let's fish it out, right? Let's fish it out. So let's see what FedNow is. Let's get into that. What is FedNow? This is an article from Forbes.com. The Fed is rewiring the U.S. payment system. Here's what that means for you. It can take days to transfer money or make payments from your bank account, even as apps like Venmo, Cash App, and Zelle make such transactions nearly instantly. That's because the federal government has no digital payments for the entire banking system to utilize in real time. But that's about to change. So what they're feeding you here, they're making you already believe that it's something good. That's how they always do the articles, man. When there's an agenda, they always try to make it seem like something good until you read more into it. Right? Read that. I'm going to read that last sentence again. That's because the federal government has no digital payment system for the entire banking system to utilize in real time. In other words, they're trying to feed you, hey, listen, if we can make it digital, that'll be better for you because your money can be transferred faster. You see how to make it sound good? But let's read more, right? The Federal Reserve plans to launch its own real-time payment systems called the FedNow service this summer. Though FedNow is years behind tech-based private sector competitors, it will be a game changer for transactions in the U.S. It will be the first and only digital instant payments system. What are they doing? Eliminating third-party decentralized systems. You see that? That's what they're trying to get rid of. They're throwing it in our faces. They're trying to centralize the currency and they're trying to eliminate the competition, anyone who's against them centralizing their currency. It says it will be the first and only digital instant payment system that is both created and backed by the government. Now, we all know when it's like that, it's never a good thing, right? Never. Reading on. As a result, many banks will see it as a larger, safer system able to transfer money faster for consumers and businesses. So this enticement is going to make bigger and larger banks see it as a safer system. And you see what happened with Silicon Valley. They closed down. And now there's been reports that consumers and customers, they're moving to larger banks now at a high rate. So now the larger banks are being convinced and being moved over to a more digital system. And what is that going to do? By default, all customers shall go by that digital system. By default. That's what's going to happen, right? Let's read on. As a result, many banks will see it as a larger, safer system, able to transfer money faster for consumers and businesses. See, they're making it sound good. They're making it sound good. Flowers and candy. Reading on. FedNow will enable all the banks and any bank in the United States, not just the big ones, to offer instantly available funds and real-time payments to their customers. Now, you know, if the big banks is moving somewhere, the small banks most likely is going to move the same way because they're going to be out of business if they don't. That's a chess move they're doing right now. That's a chess move. And guess what? Who cares if the crypto founders and CEOs were found dead? The people ain't going to care about that. They got basketball and football and Nicki Minaj and Trey Songz to worry about. They got housewives to worry about. They got, you know, whatever goddamn show they got around here, man. I don't even know the damn show's names. You know what I'm saying? I don't really watch none of them shows, so I don't even know. But any of them shows, y'all know what I'm talking about. Like Love and Basketball or whatever. They worried about that. They ain't worried about these people being found dead. We could set them up, give them a cheap story. We all right. That's how they think. That's their track history. Let's read on. Let's read that again. To offer instantly available funds and real-time payments to their customers, said Fed Chair Jerome Powell before the House Financial Services Committee on March 8th. That's a great thing, quote unquote. That's what he said. That's a great thing. So they're all moving towards it, man. Now it says, what is FedNow? FedNow is the first created system. Note that down, the first. So in their eyes, this is history right here. This is the beginning of something that they've been planning for, because this is the first created system for financial institutions to send and receive funds almost instantly. So again, this is all government controlled. And what happens is they got to baby feed you. They got to give you the baby food first. They got to give you the acceptance. They got to give you the lollipop with it. Here's a shot. Here's the vaccine with the lollipop. Until you eventually say, you know what, I'm going to just accept it because that sounds really good. Right, let's read on. Ideally, FedNow will ensure you no longer have to wait a few business days. Wow, that sounds good. You see that? They try to eat your mind up, man. Right, or bide you time over the holidays or weekends to receive your money. Oh, wow, on Christmas, I could just send my grandma money. I ain't got to wait for them presents. Everything is adding up, right, to make it sound good. Reading on, it says, this means you can make payments, your mortgage, for example, ideally within seconds. You can opt to send funds on the due date rather than having to plan several days out for an online payment to clear or up to a week for a check to be processed. So they're giving you everything that you do in your everyday life. They're preying on that. They're working off of that and capitalizing off of that. That's what the strategy is. They're strategizing off of that. Let's strategize it in a way where it can affect their daily lives and make it sound like it's better for them. Reading on, watch this. For business owners too, this means faster and smoother operations. They will be able to send and receive invoice payments, for instance, in real time online. Right? So now you can read the whole article by yourself. I just wanted to point out what FedNow is, how it works, and what they got planned for us, and how they trying to make it sound good. Right? Now, receiving that mark in your head, revelation is what? Accepting this. Accepting it as a positive thing. Accepting it as if it's God sent. Oh, it's good. Oh, it's good for us. Right after this comes what? The AIs. Right after this comes the robots taking your jobs. Right after this comes the police dogs. They're not really dogs. Those are robots that they're planting right now in the streets of New York. That's what they're doing. They're leading up to making you accept it. So when they go out full force, you can't say nothing. You accepted it. And you can't do nothing anyway, right? Because it's all prophecy at the end of the day. Let's go to the next article. This is JordanThriller.com, right? It says U.S. Federal Reserve's Cash App replacement FedNow sparks Great Reset conspiracy theories. Right? The Federal Reserve is developing the FedNow service, a safe and efficient instant payments infrastructure that will modernize the U.S. payment system and enable financial institutions of all sizes to offer customers the ability to send and receive money in near real time, around the clock, 365 days a year. They're selling it to us, man. Right? They're selling it to us. The way you sell it to us is enthusiasm. But they can't trick the prophets of the Most High. They can't trick us, man. We in this truth. We know it's good, right? Let's read on. In this article, we will explore what the FedNow service is, how it works. Let's go a little more. FedNow services, right? Electronic payments make it easy. Transparency of business and all that. They're making it sound good. Interbank clearing and settlement that enables funds to be transferred from the account of a sender to the account of a receiver in the real time. Listen, it's all a game, man. I'm showing you that the article is trying to make it scary to it, to throw you all track, to make you believe, man, that conspiracy thing is garbage. This is actually good for us. Again, that's their trick. They'll address it. They'll mention the elephant in the room to make it seem like they addressed it, but they're mixing the truth with the lies. Now let's go to the slide. I want y'all to hear something, right? There's a brother. He explains it, in short, in a short little video clip. He explains it real good. And I just jotted a couple of things that he said that is important to know for the future, because guess what? What happens is, see, FedNow is not going to go all out and change everything now. Right now, it's not the time. Right now, they're baby feeding us. Right now, they're just giving us enough to be able to accept it. A lot of times, you got to understand, the government, they do experiments on how many people accept it. How many? Slakia, you said something? Okay, I guess he's in the background. Right, so again, they're baby feeding our people to accept it. That's what it is. So now this PowerPoint slide says what? How will FedNow be utilized in the future? Let's see what this brother says real quick.
This is huge news. The Federal Reserve is about to launch its own digital payment service July 23rd of this year. This upcoming system has raised a lot of concerns about financial privacy and government surveillance. This could allow the central bank to enforce dollar amounts on where you spend your money and how you spend it. Also plans to link it to a digital ID and your social security number. Analysts have said the system is being built to allow the government to freeze assets on the back end and also be able to enforce a dynamic tax rate, which is they'll be able to change the tax rate in real time based on events that's happening in the country and how much money they need. That would be on income and outgoing payments. What do you guys think? I don't know your thoughts in the comments below. Follow me for more.
Now check this out. I wrote down a couple of points like you said. Let's go with the first one. If FedNow goes digital in the future, it will allow central banks to enforce dollar amounts on where and how you spend your money, meaning they're going to control how much you spend, where you spend it, and they can deny you. The next thing, it will be linked to a digital ID and your social security number. So not only do you now have a digital ID, it's also attached to your social security. That's going to be your identification now. If you can't be digitally identified, guess what? You're not going to be considered a citizen. Also, it allows government to freeze assets on the back end. The government could do whatever they want with your assets if they feel they need to. That's what it's moving into. Like I said, they're not doing it full-fledged now because they're taking the baby steps, but this is what the future holds. They're making it sound good when this is the back end of the deal right here. Next point, being able to enforce a dynamic tax rate where they will be able to change the tax rate based on events that is happening and money they need. So they could say, listen, the tax rate is at 2% right now. The next day they could say, listen, it's at 20. We need this right now. And we can't do nothing about it because it's all digital. They control that. Reading on, this will be applied to any income or outgoing payments. So you're going to be taxed on the payments you send out, and you're going to be taxed on the payments you receive as income. Everything. I thought we was free though, man. What's going on, man? I thought we was just land of the free. I thought it was America. I thought this was, democracy. That's what kills me, man. Every time we go out there to camp and we see our people justifying America, loving America, doing this, these are the things I ask myself, are you not seeing this? This is what they plan for us. Right? Let's go on to the next slide. So FedNow will need a law passed to make the currency digital and get rid of the dollar. So the only reason why FedNow is not getting rid of the dollar and turning everything right now into digital is because they need that law. Remember, anytime they want to do something, they have to pass a law on it. And that's why they have unjust laws. That's why certain laws don't even make sense. You ask yourself, what is going on? But this is because that's part of the agenda. And guess what? They're making laws behind our backs. We don't even have the power to approve or disapprove. That's up to them. They take care of that. We don't have no power over what laws is passed in all 50 states. Or none of the 50 states at that matter. Right? So this is Isaiah, the 10th chapter, starting at the first verse. Now I'm reading from the Good News translation because a lot of verses in the Good News translation says the same thing as the King James version. It's just in the modern English. Right? So it says, you are doomed. You make unjust laws that oppress my people. That is how you keep the poor from having their rights and from getting justice. That is how you take the property that belongs to widows and orphans. We just, the brother just brought out how they're able to freeze your assets. These are direct scriptures targeting the current events now. This is why the prophecies never fail us. This is why Isaiah says you can't make the Bible with any other book because no other book is prophesying these things. No other book. Right? Reading on. Let me read that part again. That is how you take the property that belongs to widows and orphans. Verse 3. What will you do when God punishes you? What will you do when he brings disaster on you from a distant country? Where will you run? Where will you find what's like it? Where will you run to find help? Where will you hide your wealth? That's another thing. We got billionaires and millionaires. They thinking that they can escape the fate of America by hiding their wealth. You have a lot of people, in the world right now, they hiding their wealth in cash. What happens when everything turns digital? All that wealth that they holding on to, zero value. So it says, where will you hide your wealth? Verse 4, you will be killed in battle or dragged off as prisoners. Yet even so, the Lord's anger will not be ended. His hand will still be stretched out to punish. That's the Most High's judgment right there. That's the Most High's will. So at the end of the day, we're seeing what? The Most High is going to judge these people making these unjust laws. These unjust laws oppresses the people of the Most High. These laws were not made to benefit us. The Asians, they got their hate law passed for them. I still don't see no hate law passed for blacks and Hispanics, Native Americans. I still have not seen it. So they make laws that oppress the Lord's people. They keep the poor from having their rights every day. And that's what the digital currency is. The FedNow is another way to take your rights away. Take away your privacy. You won't have no privacy no more. You're going to be, listen, what they doing in China with social credit is coming right here to America. And guess what? Now that's where us, we're going to have to maneuver in a subtle way, and the Most High will. He'll show us how to move in that day. But guess what? That means if we in the streets teaching, our social credit goes down. We can't buy or sell. We can't take out no loans. We can't rent. We can't buy food, water, basic needs. This is what's coming to America, brothers and sisters. And guess what? I hear a lot of people saying it's not going to be in my lifetime. Not in my lifetime. You don't know that. The way the Most High move, he says he's going to shorten the days for the elect's sake. It might seem like, yeah, it might not be in our lifetime, but the Most High can overnight, bam, just switch everything up. Now you caught off guard, you caught unprepared because you thought the Most High wasn't coming yet. You see that? We seen what the BRICS nation is doing. We're going to get into that too. I got a whole bunch of videos and you know, a lot of things that I want to bring out. A lot of times I'm bringing videos because you can actually see these politicians talking and saying what we've been saying this whole time. A lot of times our people don't believe us. We're crazy, we're conspiracy theorists. Okay, sometimes you got to hear from your enemies then. Then maybe you'll believe us, right? I'm talking to the people that, you know, look at Israelites like we don't present truth, like we out there crazy. I heard a person say, I seen a title in Clubhouse, side note, right? I seen a title in Clubhouse stating Israelites are murdering brothers and sisters. And I'm like, what is he talking about? What crime rate is there in the Israelite community? Who's getting murdered left and right in the Israelite community? Who the hell are you talking about? But they'll justify America and what's going on. They'll justify all these laws that oppresses us. It's crazy, man. So going back to the presentation, right? So yeah, we get into that time, brothers and sisters. Let's go to the next slide. So it says the crash of the US dollar will bring an economic crash, riots, and major financial losses. So let's let a heathen tell us, right? Let's see what he got to say.
If the US dollar collapses, then automatically the US economy will crash. Remember, this is the international currency. There is going to be such massive financial loss in the United States in particular. White America losing most of its wealth. That you can close your eyes and anticipate panic in the United States of America and riots in the United States of America. They might have to declare martial law in the United States. But more than that, the collapse of the US dollar, since this is the international currency, is going to create panic in the weak currency areas of the world. Indonesian rupiah, the Bangladeshi taka, the Pakistani rupee. There's going to be panic as people struggle and rush to dump it.
Yes, they're going to be panic. Yes. They're going to be panic. Yes. Damn right. All praise to the Most High. There is going to be panic, man. Right? They're going to pay for everything that they have done to us. Every little bit of evil and wickedness they've done to our people. They are going to panic. Yes. All praise to the Most High, man. That's what we're waiting for. The Bible says what? Blesses the righteous man that get to see the fall of his enemy. Right? That's in the Apocrypha. That's what we want, man. Right? We want to see the fall of our enemies. We want to see, right, the second Exodus. That's what we are waiting. Right? You got the powers that be creating airspace forces and all this and all that. You know, they're using going to Mars as an excuse to plant more forces up there, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And listen, the Most High going to take all that down. So we're hearing the heathens even saying what's going on and what's about to happen. But there's more. There's more. Let's go on to the next slide. So it says, what is the BRICS countries? I know a lot of y'all are familiar with it already. BRICS countries list consists of 5 members: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Korea. Now, the BRICS nation have been making some noise recently. They're making a lot of noise right now. And the alliance is getting bigger. Exactly. The Most High's moving, man. The alliance is getting bigger. Every time, listen, this is the crazy part about it, right? Every Passover, there's current events fulfilling prophecy at an all-time high. Always, it never fails. Every Passover, the death angel is busy. The Most High is working. Throughout the years, like we chilling, all right, certain things is going on, then bam, Passover come, everything is just at one shot. All praise to the Most High, man. So let's read. Let's read on. The term BRIC was first used by economist Jim O'Neill in 2001 to describe fast-growing economies that would collectively dominate the global economy by 2050. Now, this was back in 2001. And we're seeing now the BRICS nation, again, making noise. They're coming up. They're doing what they said they were going to do. And we're seeing what? The prophecies being fulfilled because they're doing what the Most High said they're going to do at the end of the day. Let's read on. South Africa joined the alliance in 2010. The BRICS have a combined area of 39,746,220 kilometers and estimated total population of about 3.21 billion. America's finished, man. Finished. America's military is getting weaker every week, every day. They spread themselves too thin, just like the Roman Empire. They're struggling to collect taxes to fund and aid war. It's over. Reading on. The BRICS hold an annual summit, and each year the heads of government take turns assuming the presidency. The BRICS have established a policy bank, the New Development Bank, to coordinate infrastructure loans. So they're starting to work with each other now. They've been working with each other, but now more than ever. All these nations want to drop the dollar bill. All of them. They want to do away with the dollar bill. Every single dollar. From the hundreds down to your ones. The $2 bills is going to be worth more than 100 just because it's unique, so-called, right? But that's about it. Let's go on to the next slide. So here we have the BRICS countries are taking action to end the dominance of the US dollar, and other countries are joining them. So you see the picture to the left. You see them all, they ready. They're holding hands. They in alliance with one another. And normally when they do that is to, within themselves, it's like, yeah, we moving. We making moves. It's almost as an act of honor. And also an act of the initiation of an agenda. Normally they do that. They put it in our faces. We don't pick up on that, our people, because, we thinking everything is entertainment. For the most part, right? Our people in the world, they think everything is just entertainment. But a lot of these things are symbolic. So they'll take pictures together just to remember, this is history they're making right now, too. To get rid of the dollar bill, that has never, ever, ever in history happened. Never. So they're making history. Let's see on the right, we have a video. Let's see what this heathen says.
No, the countries that have already gone with BRICS, Egypt, Afghanistan, Algeria, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Nicaragua, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Senegal, Thailand, the United Arab Emirates, Argentina, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Zimbabwe, Iraq. The one that I loved was the United Kingdom. They've already gone. Not the City of London, the United Kingdom. And then those that are waiting to be entered into BRICS are Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Panama, Bolivia, Chile, Cuba, Ecuador, Peru, Uruguay, Venezuela, Azerbaijan, Mongolia, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Turkey, and my favourite, Germany. Because if Germany goes, that's the end of the EU, because it was only the United Kingdom and Germany that ever put in, the rest took out.
Yeah.
See that? So all these countries are already joining the BRICS nation. Right? At the end of the day, guess what? Ain't no stopping that. That's prophecy, man. And we're seeing these things happen at a rapid rate right now. That's why we got to give a shout out to the Most High, man. All praise to the Most High, because sometimes, you know, the Bible says what? A lot of times our people, they require a sign. They want to see things happen, move fast, right? But it's always on the Most High's time. And so we always got to be prepared so we won't be blindsided by it, right? So they coming together. That's what the BRICS nation is, right? Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. And everybody else is joining them. Mexico too? Yep, even Mexico. Right, let's go on to the next slide. Right, the BRICS countries are taking action again to end the dominance of the US dollar. So we're gonna have two videos played. Is it one by a sister, and then the next one by this dude, a reporter, talking about what's going on with Mexico. Let's see what the sister's saying right here.
It is trouble in the West. Do you see what's going on? China and Brazil have officially made an agreement to start trading goods and services in their own local currencies. We're going to see a lot of countries follow suit, especially as more and more countries join the BRIC nations. And the BRIC nations' main goal is to end the dominance of the US dollar, especially the petrodollar. And basically the petrodollar was implemented and it ensured that all countries buying oil would use the US.
Oh, what's going on? Salakia. Might have froze up a little bit. Let me see. Yeah, I think it froze up a little bit. Salakia, hold on 1 second.
Dollar.
Yeah, Salakia. Let me restart that slide real quick. All right. Let's get back on track. Let's do it.
So it is to end the dominance of the US dollar, especially the petrodollar. And basically the petrodollar was implemented and ensured that all countries buying oil would use the US dollar. Now this is going to change. And once this changes, this is where we're going to see some real trouble for the dollar, where we will see hyperinflation. We're going to see a big sell-off of treasury bonds. So you want to be invested in hard assets. Those of you that love just looking at money pile up in your bank account, you're going to be in for a surprise as the dollar continues to lose its value. Make sure you are invested in hard assets like real estate.
Right? Check that out. The sister's right. All that money you're saving in the bank, inflation is eating it up. So let's say you get, we really get 0.0001% interest in the bank and the savings. Let's be honest. But let's say you get 2%. Inflation is 5%. That's eating your savings up. So a lot of people, it's not bad to save if you plan to invest. Right? If you plan to invest, okay, cool. You can save up because you need money to, kind of do certain things. Not, when you're coming over here to the real estate side, right? I've been teaching that for a minute. And like the sister said, you want to invest in hard assets like real estate, right? Later on, about 3:30, 4 p.m., depending on what time this class ends, I'll be teaching real estate. Another thing our brothers and sisters should be looking into to prepare for these times. Getting a property, right? I'll be going over this afternoon how to live rent-free, how to get a property easily. Little to no money out your pocket. Right? A lot of times our people, we don't prepare. That's our problem. We don't prepare, and a lot of times we don't care to prepare. That's our downfall right there. A lot of our people, they're dependent on their jobs. Right? And listen, ain't no knock. If If a brother want to do that, that's on him. That's cool. But in this society in 2023, we have to be moving in a certain way because they coming after us, man. They trying to take out the middle class. It's either you rich or you poor. Why not prepare to at least be in the higher bracket if you can, which you could, right? Don't get it twisted. Listen, back in the day, guess what? And this is what I'm saying. They model or mold our minds a certain way. Back in the day with a regular job, $12 an hour, you was caking it. You was caking it. You had your own car, your own apartment. Everything was paid, food on the table. You went shopping. Right? A lot of us went shopping on 28th Street. Y'all know what I'm talking about. In Manhattan. Right? We got the little suede suits, the fitteds, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about. The Nikes, the Uptowns and all that back in the day. Yeah, you had $12 an hour job. You was caking it. Everybody on the block wanted to be you. Now you got a $12 an hour job. That's not even minimum wage. You can't even live. Rent is damn near $5,000. New York. Right? Everywhere else is going up. So it's best for us to at least prepare as much as we can while we're here. Right? The book of Jeremiah says, go build ye houses while you're in captivity. Right? We're supposed to be building as much as we can while we can. Guess what, brothers and sisters? We still got to pay bills every day. We still got to pay bills. It ain't going nowhere. Bills is one of the things that will never go away as long as you live. Or as long as we live, right? But if we can alleviate that while we're in captivity and then also teach our generation coming up how to go around not having to be subjected to jobs that might fire them the next day, right? Not being subjected to jobs that's going to overwork you long hours, right? Let's do it. Let's deal with assets. Again, that'll be at 3:30, 4 o'clock. I'm doing the real estate class on Clubhouse and on YouTube, so tune in later, right? Let's go on with this PowerPoint. Let's see what the video on the right says. Let's see what this dude talking about.
Get ready for war. That's what a top U.S. general is now telling his troops, to get ready for war by the year 2025. General Minihan sent a letter to his troops.
Now, hold on. Straight off the bat, dude is bringing out the information about the U.S. general telling us, or telling his people, because I ain't seen it on the news yet in terms of, yo, let's prepare for war, get ready, right? They're going to let that out when things hit the fan. When things hit the fan, then they'll come out publicly live on the spot. But for now, they're telling their own people by 2025, you got to get ready for war. Right, let's restart that again. Let's play that.
Get ready for war. That's what a top U.S. general is now telling his troops, to get ready for war by the year 2025. General Minihan sent a letter to his troops telling them, hey, you better get ready. Now, even before we blew up their natural gas pipeline, they were building that coalition to dethrone the United States dollar dominance. And historically, the way that we deal with people like this is we threaten war, and we actually try to destabilize these countries through regime change and sanctions, like we're doing in Ukraine right now to Russia. And now
you heard that? That's important right there. That's important. Let's go back a little bit. So Mexico will try to dethrone the dollar dominance, right? The US dollar. Now, we're going to see what kind of sentiments they have towards a country or a nation that's trying to eliminate the dollar. Right? Because listen, America, they're not giving up their power at all. Any threat to their power, even a small bit, they're trying to get rid of you. That's it. So he said what? Since Mexico tried to dethrone the United States dollar dominance, right? They do what they do to everybody else.
And historically, the way that we deal with people like this is we threaten war.
Threaten war, right? Hey, we're going to bomb the hell out of your country. Hey, listen, we got these nukes. We about to come in right now. You better give us the hell we want. You better sign this contract. Right? Just like they did with the natives, you better sign this treaty. If not, we going to take your land anyway. That's always been their spirit. So he's confirming it. That's how they've always dealt with any nation. Right?
And we actually try to destabilize these countries through regime change and sanctions, like we're doing.
And what happened over there in the Middle East, so-called Middle East? America destabilized that whole thing. Right? We even got, oh my goodness, we even got Muslim women now, right, being influenced, right, by America. They got their booty shorts, they're in the beaches and bikinis. Like, all nations have drunk of her fornication. And they live deliciously. Right? All nations. But our people is the most oppressed. Our people is the most spoiled, the most robbed. Our people is the more locked up in prison. Why? Because Daniel, the 9th chapter, tells us all nations received little evil compared to Israel. We went through the most out of all nations. History proves that. I mean, come on, anybody try to debunk that? I mean, they out the goddamn mind. Let's be real, right? But let's keep on with this video.
In Ukraine right now to Russia. And now we're about to do the very same thing in Mexico. Earlier this week, Mexico announced its intent to join Russia and China as part of the BRICS nations. Holy crap. Our neighbor Mexico, the country we've been exploiting for years, a country we invaded and took their land in the 1840s, they finally had enough of our bullying garbage and is starting to stand its ground, wants to align their currency and trade with China and Russia. Now, I would say Mexico has a plethora of trading options.
What is a plethora?
They're trying to mock us, you know what I mean?
Well, you told me I have a plethora.
And then just like that, a plethora of U.S. congressmen started talking about invading Mexico with U.S. military forces. Here's Gringo, Lindsey Graham, Ukraine's favorite senator, introducing legislation to invade Mexico.
I'm going to introduce legislation, Jesse, to make certain Mexican drug cartels, foreign terrorist organizations under U.S. law, and set the stage to use military force of...
See that? So they destabilize nations that don't go according to their agenda. That's nothing new. I'm not surprised. It's definitely not a surprise to me. Definitely not a surprise to us Israelites. We know what's going on, right? Let's go on to the next slide.
Get ready.
So everybody remember Muammar Gaddafi, right? He tried to create a centralized bank in Africa backed by gold, which would have eliminated the US dollar. Right? They murdered him to avoid that. Now, this is one of the most known stories of how it goes with a nation that tries to eliminate the dollar bill. Right? Let's get into this video because what happened was, you see this picture to the right, right? We're going to show how they humiliated him. They tortured this dude and recorded it. Guess what? America has everybody right in their pockets. America promises weapons of war, monetary gains, power, as a puppet, of course. And if they don't agree, then we'll just go over there and bomb you. That's how the U.S. thinks. That's how the U.S. government thinks, period. So let's get into this video.
Overnight, the body of the dictator was placed on the ground for all in the city of Misrata to see for themselves. It's expected that he will be buried today in accordance with Muslim tradition, but that funeral may be delayed. And we're now seeing...
And also, just so you know, one of the things the elites do, they do things like this, like record the body, you know, or they record the person and their body in terms of the task they were given, you know, taking out the person. So they'll record the body as a way of saying, yeah, we did it, we completed it, here's the proof. Yeah, we did it. You wanted us to humiliate him. You want him to really pay for it. Look, here's the proof, here's the video. That's how they do. Let's go on with the video.
New images of those final moments before his death. In this video just released, there he is, crowds surrounding him. The last bloody moments of his life show him wounded and begging for mercy. He struggles, stumbles, and shouts as he fights against the enraged rebels. Haram Aleiko, he says over and over, an Arabic expression that literally means this is a sin for you. According to ABC's translators, it's generally used as a plea of vulnerability. Omar Gaddafi, who showed no mercy in his own life, begs for mercy as his is coming to an end. It had begun our...
Now, we know the Most High is against all heathens. We also know the Most High said what? A nation divided against itself cannot stand. So that's just heathens going to war against heathens. Who cares? Right? At the end of the day, if a heathen is a heathen, it is what it is. But this is what happened to him. It's just an example of how they will humiliate you and really just go all out if they feel you're a threat and you're a rebel trying to take away their power. Especially if they know that a move like a decentralized bank backed by gold and no longer by the US dollar, that's a direct threat. That's not even a maybe. That's a direct threat. They didn't want that. So we seen what happened, right? Let's go on to the next slide. So it says, what does Donald Trump say about the US dollar crashing? And this is why I'm glad I even had Donald Trump on video saying how severe it would be if the dollar crashes. He compares it. Matter of fact, let's look at the video. Let's see.
China, I heard a couple of people say, well, the dollar will never lose the dollar standard. Are they kidding? China wants to change the standard, the currency standard. And if that happens, that's like losing a world war.
You heard that? If the dollar standards change, that's like losing a world war. That's how they see it. So if the other nations is trying to get rid of the dollar, how is America looking at that? Like if we're losing a world war. And what's going to happen? Retaliation. Taxes go up. Inflation, because they want us to aid and pay military weapons and all that. That's what happens. And that's what would happen if the US dollar crashed. They would be charging us to fund their war at a high rate. And that's why they want everything digital, because if they can make it digital, you have no power over what you have. That's the danger about that. Although they try to make it sound good. Let's go back a little bit and then we continue.
We'll be a second-tier country. We'll literally be a second-tier country if that happens. If we lose our currency, that's the equivalent of losing a world war. Our currency is what makes us powerful and strong.
You see that? So the U.S. currency being global is what makes America powerful. Now, all nations, they can crash it right now because they don't really need the dollar to make exchanges for goods and trades. They don't need it. But America is the one forcing that currency through violence, through threats, through destabilizing countries. We're seeing it. And I love when you hear it out of the horse's mouth. I love when we hear it out of the horse's mouth, because now we can't say, well, that's speculation. That's a conspiracy theory. That's intellectual terrorism. We're hearing it. Right? Let's go on to the next slide. So World War III is prophecy. I'm going to say a picture speak 1,000 words. We got 3. That's 3,000. We'll add some nukes to it. So yeah, World War III is prophecy. We can't get around it, brothers and sisters. Unfortunately, listen, we are loving people, right? If it was up to us, we wouldn't want this to happen to our people, period. But the prophecy must remain true. 2/3 of our people got to go and endure the suffering because they will not acknowledge the commandments of the Most High and will not come into the truth. That's the sad part, right? Even the Bible says that, Paul said his desire was that all Israel could be saved. Our desire is that our people could be saved from this. This is disastrous. Listen, we may talk about World War III is coming, this and this and that, but when it comes, listen, we pray we're the elect because we do not want to see that, man. Right? Fervent heat just burning bodies up in your sight. Your family members suffering, arms and legs blown up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to see that. So we pray for our people, man. We pray for our people, pray for our family, and we pray for ourselves, right? So let's get into the World War III prophecy. It's the book of 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise. When them nukes hit, that's a great noise. It ain't no little noise. It ain't no little cat gun, right? And the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Verse 11. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of the Lord God, Yahweh. So that's what we're looking for, the hasting, right? We're praying that the Lord speedily takes us out of this place and saved us from that destruction. Now we know certain prophecies still got to be manifested. We know we're at the end, but we're not at the exact end at this day yet. Certain things still got to be fulfilled, right? You still got to have, the FEMA camps. You still got to have the concentration camps, the martial law. Of course, the civil war in America, the riots, the dollar crash, all that got to come to pass first, but we're leading up to it as we see the current events, through the spirit of the Most High. We see that. Okay, so reading on, it says, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for a new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Right? Because we tired of this damn captivity, man. Let's be honest. We tired of it. Right? We tired of this we tired of not, having our land. We tired of our people being treated unjust. We tired of these heathens trying to take control of our life. Literally every step. Social credit, digital currency, all these things. They don't even ask you to pay for the military aid through taxes. They take your taxes out. They rob of you. They rob us of our taxes. They don't even ask us. So we're looking for a new heaven and a new earth. Reading on. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless. And it'll be a beautiful day if you in the spirit of the Most High, keeping the commandments, being where he wants you to be, and you are without spot and blameless in that day. Man of the chariot coming to you directly. Hey, come on, hop on. We out of here. Hey, yo, them nukes about to come through. So come on, let's get in this chariot. Can you imagine? Right? Be found of him in peace. Meaning we see that day and we're like, okay, we're not going to be disturbed because the Most High got us in spirit. Yeah, it's a fearful thing, and we hope we're part of the elect. But if we know our conscience is clean, we're without spot and blameless, I have faith that the Most High can have me as part of the elect, Most High willing, right? We're always careful with that, but we always do what we can, knowing that we're blameless without spot for our conscience sake. So that day will be a peace to us because guess what? Now we have a new heaven and a new earth where dwelleth righteousness. That's what we're waiting for, man. That's what we're waiting for. We couldn't do it on our own, so now we need Yahweh Christ to come back and do it for us. Right? But hold on. We almost there, right? Let's go on to the next slide. Right? Another one. World War III is prophecy, Revelation, 18th chapter, in the Good News translation. All right? If you missed it earlier, a lot of these verses I'm reading in the GNT version because they're saying the same thing as the KJV, but they're just saying it in a more modern English, right? Instead of thou, it'll be you. Instead of thee, it'll be you, right? Things of that nature. So, yeah, that's what we're doing, right? We're reading in the GNT. It gives you more of a modern English. And listen, man, let's read into it. Watch. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Revelation, the 18th chapter, the first verse. After this, I saw another angel coming down out of heaven. He had great authority, and his splendor brightened the whole earth. He cried out in a loud voice, she has fallen. Great Babylon has fallen. She is now haunted by demons and unclean spirits. All kinds of filthy and hateful birds live in her. For all the nations have drunk her wine, the strong wine of her immortal lust. The kings of the earth practiced sexual immorality with her, and the merchants of the world grew rich from her unrestrained lust. So all the kings of the earth got rich off America. Why? Because that was off the backs, blood, sweat, and tears of the so-called Hispanics, blacks, and Native Americans. It was off our backs that all these kings of the earth got rich. So they committed sexual immorality, meaning what? They joined our oppression, right? They joined in having a hand in our oppression. But then you got the Arabs, the Chinese, the East Indians, right? Over there in Jamaica, the Chinese, they have Chinatown and all this, and they got Chinese stores in the hood, right? The Arabs, they got the deli stores in the hood down on lock. They got it locked down. All these nations come to our people to make money off of us, knowing damn well they would not give us a loan, they would not give us a helping hand, nor wouldn't even loan us some food if we needed it. So the kings of the earth practiced sexual immorality with her, and the merchants of the world grew rich from her unrestrained lust. Reading on, verse 4. Then I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out, my people, come out of her. You must not take part in her sin. You must not share in her punishment, for her sins are piled up as high as heaven. Now, if you look up to the heavens, can you measure heaven? Not at all. So for the sins of America to reach up to heavens, you know how much of a lengthy, track record, right, that is? In the eyes of the Most High, it don't reach the Most High. The wickedness of America has reached the Most High. We can't even measure the heavens. Crazy, right? That's why they call the border of wickedness. Reading on. And Yahweh remembers her wicked ways. Treat her exactly as she has treated you. There goes that vengeance. There goes reparations. We want reparations? That's it right there. Yahweh Shah's going to come with the 144,000, the elect, and we're going to treat Babylon America exactly how she treated us. Pay her back double for all she has done. Fill her cup with a drink twice as strong as the drink she prepared for you. Now, just a quick analogy, right? Let's fill her cup with a drink twice as strong. Let's say you got strong drink. You got one shot. Somebody come through and pour you 5 shots. That's way stronger than just one shot. It's the same analogy, right? They fill the cup twice, double, quadruple. Verse 7, give her as much suffering and grief as the glory and luxury she gave herself. For she keeps telling herself, here I sit a queen. I am no widow. I will never know grief. I went over earlier how I hear not only the other nations say it, but I hear some of our people say it. America will never fall. We're the superpower. Sometimes I go in these clubhouse rooms to listen to current events, things of that nature, and I'm hearing the same thing. They're saying America's not going to fall. We're the best country. Man, we'll take on Russia and China. Like, they the ones in the battlefield or something. Like, you in the background, man. You talking all that mouth like a chihuahua talking to a lion or something. You know what I'm saying? You barking from the back of the fence, right? But that fence open, yeah, I don't know you're going to be saying the same thing, man. So, America can't fall. We're the greatest nation. We got the military, and not knowing their military is getting weak, right? Reading on. Because of this, in one day, she will be struck with plagues, disease, grief, and famine, and she will be burnt with fire, right? More fire. Shout out to Benjamin. More fire, right? Because the Lord God who judges us is mighty. Verse 9, the kings of the earth who took part in her immortality and lust will cry and weep over the city when they see the smoke from the flames that consume her. They stand a long way off because they are afraid of sharing in her suffering. They're like, I don't want nothing to do with America right now. When this takes place in America, the dollar falls, and shortly after the war happens in the streets, then shortly after World War III happens, the kings of the earth, people that's making money in the money, and I don't even want none of that smoke. Literally, right? I don't want no smoke. And they shall weep over the city when they see smoke, right? They want to be smoke free that day, right? From the flames that consume her. They stand a long way off. So they stand in the fall saying, nah, we don't want nothing to do with that. Let them deal with it. Now they want to not stick in their business, right? Their nose in the business that they don't belong. Now they want to stay away from us. Now they want to, listen, the Most High said they're going to be just too. Reading on, they say, how terrible, how awful, this great and mighty city Babylon, in just 1 hour you have been punished. Right? We have over 400 years of captivity, but Babylon, aka America, will be destroyed in 1 hour. Right? That's justice right there. Right? Reading on. Right, verse 11. The merchants of the earth also cry and mourn for her, because no one buys their goods any longer. So we're going into this digital currency. We're going into the cash, right? The dollar crashing. Right, we're going into all these things where we see that no one is going to buy anything with dollar bills anymore. Right, because no one buys their goods any longer. And guess what? When this is destroyed, America destroyed, ain't gonna be no investment in America. Ain't gonna be no properties left, right? Ain't gonna be no jobs left to work. Ain't gonna be no trucks to drive. Ain't gonna be none of that. Nobody gonna come over here and start businesses. It's burnt up. Right? It says, no one buys their gold, silver, precious stones, and pearls, their goods of linen, purple cloth, silk, and scarlet cloth, all kinds of rare woods, and all kinds of objects made of ivory and of expensive wood, of bronze, iron, and marble, and cinnamon, spice, incense, myrrh, and frankincense, wine and oil, flour and wheat, cattle and sheep, horses and carriages, slaves, and none of these things. The Most High is making it clear, ain't nothing gonna be worth anything in that day of war. Nothing. Right? You can almost sing a song to this verse. you can almost make bars to this verse. Verse 14. The merchants say to her, all the good things you long to own have disappeared. Right? We seen the heathen earlier in the video where he said, if the dollar crashes, it's going to be major financial losses. That's what the scripture's saying. All the good things you long to own have disappeared. And all your wealth and glamour are gone. And you will never find them again. Damn. Right? Like, to people that put their trust, these millionaires and billionaires that put their trust in their riches, this is grief to them. This is grievous to them. This prophecy, they don't want this prophecy to happen. These are the same people wishing America was continue on and on forever. Guess what? We got brothers in this truth. They got their businesses, right? They're financially stable, but they don't trust in America. They don't trust in the dollar bill. They don't trust in their riches. They keep the commandments. They know they're Israelites, and they walk in the faith of the Most High through Yahushua. They don't put their trust in their riches. There's nothing wrong with riches and money. It's only wrong when you love the money. Right? The Bible says, for the love of money, not money itself. It says, for the love of money is the root to all evil. Once you love money, you don't want these prophecies to come to pass. Once you love money, you stop going to camp. Right? Once you love money, you stop doing classes. Once you love money, you stop serving the Most High completely. So on and so forth, right? Money can corrupt you if you're not in the right spirit. However, if you're in the right spirit, money can be a blessing to you, your people, and your nation. Right? Reading on. All your wealth and glamour gone, and you will never see them again. The merchants who became rich from doing business in that city will stand a long way off because they are afraid of sharing in her suffering. They will cry and mourn and say, how terrible, how awful for the great city. She used to dress herself in linen, purple and scarlet, and cover herself with gold ornaments, precious stones and pearls. And in 1 hour, she has lost all this wealth. Right? That's what they're going to be thinking to themselves. The superpower, America, the great, has lost all this wealth in 1 hour. That's why I was bringing out a camp too. Imagine Hispanics, right? Blacks, so-called, right? Native Americans. Imagine all of us just in the truth and not the truth for 1 day, just keeping the Sabbath. All these businesses are shut down. A lot of times we read statistics that Saturdays is the most, is the days Friday and Saturday is the days that people shop the most because they're going out that night. They got to shop for their outfit, their sneakers, whatever, so on and so forth. If we was to one day collectively as a nation just keep the Sabbath for one day, everything would fall. Period. That's how mighty the Most High is, right? So, and in 1 hour she had lost all this wealth. Reading on. All the ships, captains, and passengers, the sailors, and all others who earned their living on the sea stood a long way off and cried out as they saw the smoke from the flames that consumed her. There never has been another city like this great city. They threw dust on their heads. They cried and mourned, saying, how terrible, how awful for the great city. She is the city where all who have ships sailing the seas became rich on her wealth. All the trading and the goods, right, that America have come from other countries and other nations. And they got rich off of it. The other nations as well. Reading on. And in 1 hour, she has lost everything. Verse 20. Be glad, heaven, because of her destruction. Be glad, God's people and the apostles and prophets, for God has condemned her for what she did to you. All praise to the Most High. See, the Most High is a loving power, man. He always constantly reminds us he got us, right? In the Apocrypha, I believe it's 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter, in the 3rd verse, it says, what? Don't worry how the wicked shall be punished, but worry about how the righteous shall be saved. And that's where our thoughts and prayer, right, our energy goes into, making sure that we and our families and our brothers and sisters, we straight. Right, we can't worry about the wicked. We can't say, damn, when is the Most High going to destroy the wicked? When is he going to do this? That's the Most High's time. Who are we to question the Most High? We worry about what we got to do. That's it. Right, reading on, it says, verse 21, then a mighty angel picked up a stone the size of a large millstone and threw it into the sea, saying, this is how the great city Babylon will be violently thrown down and will never be seen again. The music of harps and of human voices, of players, of the flute, and of the trumpet, right? All these entertainers, all these people worshiping celebrities, right? You got people that they can't, their whole life is music, right? Their whole life is music. They can't go a day without music. Listen, ain't nothing wrong with music. That's cool. But when your spirit is more into music than it is in the Most High, that's a problem, right? Like, listen, I love my people, right? So we be at camp, and brothers know what I'm talking about. We be seeing a certain brother every weekend, dedicated, bumping music, old school music. Don't get twisted, this playlist is fire. I'm not gonna lie about that. I love the hip hop he be bringing out and all that, right? We be teaching, we be hearing the music, but when he passes by, he's one of those brothers that he's that playing music 24/7, carrying a speaker in a shopping cart 24/7, Harlem type of dude. You know what I'm saying? You know how Harlem do, they carry their speakers and they boombox everywhere. That's their life, right? So we got brothers and sisters like that, right? Listen, that's why the Most High said, listen, you can't be worshiping these things. It's a good thing. Listen, music is part of our history. It's in the scriptures. We got a whole book of songs, right? King Solomon, he wrote songs too. We sang songs to the Most High as a nation. So ain't nothing wrong with singing or having music, but there's a time and a place for everything, and it's not always just music, man, right? But shout out to my people, man. I love my people, right? Reading on, of players of the flute and the trumpet will never be heard in you again. No workman in any trade will ever be found in you again. And the sound of the millstone will be heard no more. Never again will the light of a lamp be seen in you. No more will the voices of brides and grooms be heard in you. Your merchants were the most powerful in the world, and with your false magic, you deceived all the peoples of the world. Tell me this ain't America, man. Everything we're reading describes America. How is America not spiritual Babylon and spiritual Egypt or spiritual Sodom as well? How is it not? We're talking about this kingdom right here when we read in Revelation, the 18th chapter. This is future prophecy that has yet to happen. Verse 24, Babylon was punished because of the blood of the prophets, and God's people was found in the city. Yes, the blood of all those who have been killed on the earth. So guess what? Babylon has killed the prophets of the Most High, not only just the prophets, but the children of Israel. Right? Because the children of Israel were prophets unto the Most High. The Lord also said what? He who touches Israel touches the apple of his eye. That's how serious he takes it. Right, so let's go on to the next slide. So again, World War III is prophecy. These are the last two scriptures for the day. I know I've been here for a minute, but hey man, I love talking about current events and prophecies, right? You know, we got to know what's going on. We got to stay in tune. Sometimes I hear other brothers talk about it, and it's like, yeah, I'm taking that, and I'll learn from other brothers too. So sometimes I hear something that I never knew. Oh, that's a current event. Wow, I'm gonna keep that in mind. Right, I'm gonna note that down. I'm gonna bring that out. I can. Right, so we got to keep up with current events. It's a must. We started off the scripture, right? We started off the class with the scripture in Sirach, 39th chapter. We keep out, we're occupied in prophecies as people of understanding. So Isaiah, the 66th chapter and the 15th verse, the Lord will come with fire. He will ride on the wings of a storm to punish those who he is angry with. By fire and sword, he will punish all the people of the world whom he finds guilty, and many will be put to death. The Lord says the end is near for those who purify themselves for pagan worship, who go on procession to sacred gardens, and who eat pork. And who eat pork, right? I don't know if a Christian's listening, and who eat pork and mice. A lot of y'all think y'all eating Chinese chicken wings is really mice. Get up on game, right? Pork fried white with chicken wing. Yeah, what do you think? Y'all eat some chicken, man? Listen, last time I ate Chinese food was maybe about 14 years ago. And when I first came into the truth, I bought this order of pork fried, not pork fried rice. It was fried rice with chicken wings. And when I looked at the chicken wing, it had, I kid you not, I'm looking at a camp video. A brother had just brought that out. And I looked at my wing and it had the shape of a rat or a mouse. I'm being real. I said, oh, hell no. I threw that joint out, man. I said, hell no. Then I seen some videos on YouTube. You go ahead and YouTube Chinese eating mice. Chinese eating dog. They gonna show you blatantly. They take your dogs from your backyard. They taking it from there. Oh, you live in an apartment building with rats and mice? That's a gold mine for the Chinese people. That's where they getting their rats from. And y'all ain't gotta believe me. Y'all go on YouTube right now and search up Chinese people eating rats. Listen, I love my Israelite brothers and sisters, but if you're eating Chinese food, it's not real chicken. You eating the meow with the woof woof. Meow with the woof woof. Let me get that. Oh man. All right, let's read on. And who eat pork and mice and other disgusting foods. See, that's why I kind of like the GNT sometimes. It gives you like a real modern feel, right, in terms of English, right? So I know their thoughts and their deeds. I am coming to gather the people of all the nations. When they come together, they will see what my power can do and will know that I am the one who punishes them, right? So the Most High is the one doing the judging. And we can't hold back no prophecy. And we shouldn't even want to. That's the Most High's judgment, right? We shouldn't even want to get in the way of prophecy. We see in the scriptures, anytime somebody try to get in the way of prophecy, they get judged. So it is what it is, right? Let's go on to the last scripture. The book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 4. The second horror is over. Now, when we read that, we can see that World War III happened. World War I happened. That's the First World War. World War II happened, which is the second horror. That's over. But the third horror will come soon. Right? That third horror is what? That Third World War. So it's all in prophecy. And I just thought it was interesting on a couple of things that you know, a couple of articles, a couple of things, especially with this Cash App dude, right? It's Cash App Bob Lee, the owner of Cash App, Bob Lee, being stabbed to death. And Fed now immediately coming out with an application just like Cash App, right? And they plan to make it digital. I just find it interesting. So I just looked more into it, man. I felt like, you know what? Let me put this to a class, you know, just to you know, update people who may not know. See, a lot of people don't know this stuff, right? A lot of times we don't notice that they make also everything digital to get rid of our grandmothers, our uncles, grandfathers, our older generation. Because remember, our older generation, they used to, you know, beepers and, you know, ain't nothing wrong because that's a generation, right? Our elders grew up in a generation where it wasn't technology. They wasn't taught these things. So now they're trying to make technology the go-to for everything so they could eliminate those who don't even know and say, you know, they falling by the wayside, right? That's another reason why they're trying to stick to a digital currency when it comes, right? Or when you want to go get a job, you got to go where? You got to go to the internet. You got to go to the laptop. You got to search up jobs. Nowadays, you know what I'm saying, you go in person to get a job, they say go online and fill out the application. Everything is online. Or you want benefits, you got to fill out the application online. Or you want this, you got to go online, do this, do that. And sadly, for our older generation, they're not used to that, right? We all got mothers and aunts, and we all know we got, you know, grandmothers and so on and so forth that don't know anything about technology. They don't even know how to turn on a laptop, right? That's no shade, nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? I had family that didn't know how to do the same thing. I had to teach some of my older folks how to use a laptop, how to turn it on, how to type, right? But they're doing it on purpose because they want us to be left behind. So brothers and sisters, if you can, whoever hears this message, whoever is too, be patient with our elders, right? Be patient with our elders. I know a lot of times it's simple to us, but it's not simple to them. Be patient. All right, my people. So with that, I'm going to say all praises to Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shah for another day, right? For another day of life, another day to get right, right? Another day to edify the people and bring this class out. With that, I hope brothers and sisters got edified. Later on, what time is it? At 4 o'clock, right? If you're on Clubhouse at 4 o'clock, I'm doing the real estate class. If you're interested in knowing how to live rent-free, yes, rent-free. That's what we're going to go over today briefly later on at 4 o'clock. So I'll be on YouTube as well. I'll post up the link of the YouTube on Clubhouse so you brothers and sisters can follow along if you're interested. All right, with that, I say, Most High bless y'all. Peace and blessings. Shalom, Israel. Kum Yashala.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind: peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law. Such is a world worthy of our struggle and worthy of our children's future.
I grab my sword to slice off the devil's facade. War against Satan, it's gonna be plenty involved. Sword of justice slicing through the enemy's fraud. We use the same weapon to bring Israel a message from God. Turn on TV, watching all the pagans ball. Orgies and parties, all up in they Mason halls. When the angels brawl, they breaking all nation walls. Babylon the great, the throne of Satan falls. The world's most treacherous tribe, we sever the ties. Israel is gonna rise, watch Esau for millennium cry. For all the president lies and our children in tenements die. And all the bloodshed caused off American pride. Earthquakes everywhere, death and rumors of wars. The golden cup will be melted in the tomb of the horde. You doomed to the core for consuming the poor, and every knee shall bow down soon to the Lord.
Affirmative action necessary for the legendary prophets that went to war for the word today were dead and buried. We'll be filling up the cemetery real soon with nothing but heathens. Those that join them shall be thrust through. When the Lord come through with his army, the troops will retreat and face defeat. It's time you take a seat, face the heat, or you crackers gon' reap everything you sold on this earth with death and slavery. Extermination is a must, in the Lord we trust. Prophecy unfolding with the Russians. Time is catching up. This land used to be the home of the brave, until our wicked ways led to us being the slaves. The oppression never stops until we get ourselves right. We at war with ourselves, it's time to get your mind right. Keep the brotherhood tight, we all we got. These phony niggas in the world, they all we not. We deal with wisdom and understanding, laws and commandments. Anything aside of the Lord, I'm gon' trash it, smash it, cut it into pieces like a hatchet. Any demon front for attention, I let them have it.